Welcome, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with our next presentation. This is Bob.
Either one. I'll answer to either.
With Tego, right? Go ahead.
Okay. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody being here. Bobby Michelson, CEO and CFO of Tego Cyber. Tego it's from the Latin word tego, which is to shield, cover, and protect. And so what we do is threat intelligence, threat detection, and threat correlation, software as a service. Want to give a quick disclaimer. I prefer to keep these things somewhat interactive. So like if I point at you, like say yes, no, answer questions. But my first question kind of for everybody is who here would consider themselves to be tech savvy or cybersecurity savvy? Okay, awesome. So, and what that does, it helps me kind of tailor the presentation to the room a little bit, right? If you're all like, oh, I know everything, then you should probably come give the presentation. But no, so appreciate it, appreciate the feedback, and I might be asking questions throughout. So again, forward-looking statements, disclaimer, you've probably read at least one of them in your lifetime, if not 50,000. We're going to be talking about some potentials, some perspectives, some forward-looking statements that you can't just completely take my word for it, because some things are just not going to happen. We're going to do our best, but there's no given. So, what's our mission? Right, we have this long, drawn-out mission to discover and detect and all these things, state-of-the-art threat. Well, at the end of the day, what our job is to help businesses find the bad guys faster, right? So we do that through our multiple products, but at the end of the day, that's our job. We are not a remediation product. We are a detection product. And so we do that. We live in the threat intelligence space. And so anybody know what threat intelligence is? Can anybody define it quickly? Okay. So for me, the non-super technical person, which seems like most of you are, it's the evidence. It's evidence of previous attacks. So if you're watching CSI or NCIS, they gather fingerprints, they gather hair, they gather all these things. Well, that's the evidence of crimes. Well, what we have is we have these huge databases of previous attacks. And so we take that data and we roll it all together and we turn it into intelligence. So just kind of high level, that's what we do. So challenge. I think everybody knows, you see it. If you log into LinkedIn, you log into any social media, attacks are happening more frequently. They're more complex, and they're really gnarly, and for lack of a better term. They're more sophisticated. Why are they more sophisticated? A bunch of the attacks that are currently going on are state-sponsored attacks. There's millions upon millions of dollars behind these attackers, and a lot of them, they might be ransomware, they might be trying to get money out of you, but some of them are just trying to create chaos. And so they're getting more and more sophisticated, they're getting more frequent, and they're getting much more complex. So by the numbers, some of these things will maybe surprise you. Does anybody know what dwell time is? Okay. So dwell time is how long a threat actor, a bad guy, is in your system before they actually attack. So this is from a year or two ago, IBM before they actually attack. So they just hang out and they sit there and they figure out where they're going to go. They figure out how they're going to attack, right? Those times have come down some, but there is still significant dwell time. It's not like, in most cases, it's not that somebody gets in your system and they're attacking you in 10 minutes. No, they're smart. They're strategizing. So there are 2,244 cyber attacks a day, it's no longer if, but when, right? You think, we think about the attacks that we've heard recently. These are huge companies. They have huge budgets to prevent these things, and they're getting attacked. The reality is we're all going to get attacked. It's not if, it's when. It's how quickly we can actually find them, realize that there's an attack, and then go remediate that attack, right? There's more scary numbers on here. I don't need to run through them. So here's our opportunity. Threat intelligence market in 2020 was about $5 billion, right? It's currently, 2023 was around $8 billion, and it's growing at a rate of 24% annually. That's what the expectation is. It's going to grow around 24%. The cybersecurity market as a whole is projected to grow at about 12%. So threat intelligence is growing at a rate at double the rate of the cybersecurity industry as a whole. So, we like the opportunity that we're in this segment of the market. Let's see. There's, of all these bullets, here's the one that I kind of put a lot of, this is very impactful because this is straight from Forrester. External cyber threat intelligence is now a necessary foundational component of any organization's cybersecurity defenses, right? Historically, many use built-in threat intelligence through their SIM, through their data lake, through their firewalls, through what have you, through their products. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. So now we have an $8 billion market telling you it's not good enough, and you've got Forrester just telling you that it's just not good enough. So we love the opportunity in our market. So again, good stuff there. So here's our products. We have our threat intelligence feed, which is essentially, those are the data points. That's the evidence that we talked about. And we're not talking about, it's not like there's 1,000 of them. So it's a database of around 25 million threats, or IOCs, indicators of compromise. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we're the most comprehensive. Our goal is not to be the most comprehensive. The most comprehensive that I know of, they have about 10 to 20 billion with a B, IOCs within their threat intelligence data. We have a different vision and approach to our product. Our approach is actionable data. Just because there's an IOC doesn't mean that it's actionable and that it's an actual threat. When you have that many extra points of data, there are significantly more false positives that your team now has to go run down, right? And even if it only takes them 15 minutes, if they're running down twice as many threats for 15 minutes, every single one of them, realizing that half of them aren't even threats, it's problematic, right? Significantly wasted time. Our goal is efficiency, help you find the bad guys faster. If we're telling you it's a threat, there's a better chance that it is a true threat that could hurt you, right? So that's our threat intelligence data feed. The next is our threat detection engine, threat detection and correlation engine. That takes those threats or those IOCs, compares them to what's in your system, the data in your system automatically, and tells your team where your threats are, tells them where the threats are, tells them how deep they are, what the blast radius of those threats are. So I'll stop real quick. Any questions so far? Yep, exactly. We don't. This is the segment we live in. And I'm not saying that we won't end up there, but today this is what our product does. Huh? We get paid, it is a recurring revenue model. So it's going to depend on the size of your organization, right? So kind of our target price for the whole package is going to be around 75 grand a year. So we'll call it half of a body, right? When you think about the engineers that are using these tools, they're 180,000 plus a year, right? We're helping them do their job more efficiently. And so, yeah, kind of that base target that we're looking at is around 75K for that package. Any others right this second?
Saying about find the bad guy.
Huh?
Obviously, there's something to be done to that bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Giving information.
We're giving you the information on where the bad guy resides, right? So there's kind of a few different ways that you can go from here. It is, one, you have people internally to go remediate the situation. That's one scenario. Another scenario is you pay a service that is monitoring our software, finding the issues and remediating them, or there are remediation solutions. There are automatic remediation solutions that you could bolt on. We do. We give you kind of an audit trail or a exposure timeline.
So if I was plaintiff for FDM, whoever was last year, you would have been able to tell me how bad guys got in.
If they got in through means like this, yes, those bad guys got in a very different way. But yes, we would have, if it comes down to the threat intelligence, if the evidence that we have of prior crimes would have caught them, the problem is that particular situation was not that a hacker just got in. There were, we'll call them physical systems. There was human error involved. They got it through a call center. So, but yeah. So once they're in, yes, we give you the timeline where they are, where they were, where they've gone. Okay. Again, then we go. Our threat intelligence feed is what actually feeds our threat detection platform, and it's highly curated, highly actionable data. Right. We start with quality. Our job is, again, to help you find the bad guys faster. So the more efficiently we do that, the quicker you can remediate them and get them out of your system. Yeah.
They already have the remediation side.
They do. So most of them have what's called a SOC, right? A Security Operations Center. So either that or, again, we'll get through it, but we're also working with managed security services providers. So we're working with outsourced solutions as well. All right. So again, back to the data feed. We are using a proprietary process. We're taking millions, billions of points of data, and we're turning them into actionable intelligence. And through that, we're essentially enriching the data. We are deduplicating, we're time boxing it, because data about a breach from 2 years ago is probably not relevant today because they've changed everything about their system, so it's no longer relevant. And so at the end of the day, we're bringing the best data possible in, so then that way your team or our system works with the best possible data. Currently, our integrations for our threat detection and correlation platform are with Splunk and AWS Security Lake. So again, I know one that knows Splunk and AWS Security Lake in the room. I know everybody in the room knows AWS at some level, but those are currently our two integrations that we're working with. Splunk does about 2.7 billion a year. AWS Security Lake, the numbers on here is for AWS overall. They do 22 billion a year. That's not the number that they do on Security Lake, right? But they're growing. They just launched a year ago, and so they're really growing that business. So those are currently our two integrations. We will be looking at other integrations in the future once we see better traction and success with what we currently have. At that point, then we'll invest in future integrations. But these are the two we have right now. But again, this is just for the threat detection and correlation. The threat intel is system agnostic. So with an open API system like that, we're able to actually feed our threat intel into the majority of systems. Here's a quick look. This is the threat detection and correlation engine. This is what it looks like. So this might answer your question, a little bit of your question, sir, on what it kind of looks like when you're in the system, right? So first, we're going to list your top 30 threats based on their risk score. So all the data that we have in the background, we correlate it and we say, hey, this is where you need to focus your time and attention. Here's your top IP threats. Here's your top domain threats. You click on one of these and you'll go into what's called our investigation window. That investigation window then gives you that timeline of where the threat came from, how it came in, as well as the blast radius of how many assets in your system are currently compromised. A computer and endpoint, right? So if you've got a threat actor in your system and they've expanded to 5 machines, you want to know that so you can go remediate the 5 machines, and you don't have to go investigate it because our software already has. And then this is basically the same dashboard, a little bit different view, but same dashboard. This is the dashboard for Amazon. So basically same exact thing. It's consistently refreshing, right? So our advantage it's the threat intel, right? It's a highly curated threat intel, highly actionable. So we feed that into our detection and correlation engine. Then the detection and correlation engine is there to just further supplement the time saving that you get out of our threat intel. So, ultimately, we want to give your team or your service provider the quickest path to remediating an issue or to finding and remediating an issue. One of the things that we've spent quite a bit of time on recently over the first quarter of this calendar year is really focusing on our go-to-market strategy. I would say we had a little bit of a false start in commercialization up front. And so what we've done is we've really spent a lot of time rehashing and focusing our efforts on getting the right go-to-market strategy. So what we've really been doing is we're really leaning into the one-to-many sales strategy, where we're leaning into MSSPs and value-added resellers. Just announced that we contracted with Presidio. I think we announced that yesterday. And so we're leaning heavily into those resellers because, a company like Presidio, they already have 7,000 customers. They're in the process of selling for $4 billion. Those are the types of partners that they have the resources. We'll give away a little bit of margin, but to be able to go get some market penetration and start grabbing some market share. And that's our focus right now, is really going out and grabbing market share. The other avenue that we've kind of expanded, because we bifurcated our two products, our threat intel is now we're looking to OEM or white label that into other cybersecurity software solutions like Query AI. Query AI, every new customer for Query AI, their Query AI will have a license of threat intel into their Query AI instance. We're in conversations with multiple groups for all of these right now. Nothing ready to announce, but we feel really good about where we're going with the strategy. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, they'll be compensated for selling it to their customer base on the MSSPs. We're in discussions right now about MSSPs, those managed security service providers, to use our software within their SOC environment. So they'll be leasing our software out to their customers, right? So they're, yes, absolutely. And I apologize, I'm going to run through this quickly because I'm running out of time. Apparently I'm long-winded. Management team, really great management team other than myself. I'm me. And then you got Shannon, co-founder, director, CTO, Melissa Knight, CISO, our board, Troy Wilkinson, Chris White, Michael De Valera, and Shannon. Again, they're like, quite honestly, they're all rock stars in their own way, in their own space. Some of them are technical rock stars from a practitioner standpoint. You've got Chris White, you got Troy Wilkinson, and you've got Melissa Knight that are all really just rock star security officers. Then you've got a developer like Shannon. Shannon's great. She spent 12 years as a developer for the UN. Troy Wilkinson is currently the global CISO for IPG. He was he ran security operations for the State Department for the FBI. So again, very good high level backgrounds. Traded on the OTCQB as TGCB. Recent news. I'm not going to run through this. You guys can read that stuff. But here's why. Why now? It's a $170 billion industry. Our segment in the industry is growing at twice the rate of the industry as a whole. The bifurcation of the products gives us so much more total addressable market than we had before. We have an amazing team, and then our updated go-to-market strategy is really, we're in it to win it. So really excited about where we're heading. So now that I have like 2 minutes left, I will open it back up to more questions. If anybody's got any. Yes, sir. 100%. Again, it's a recurring revenue model. It's a license model, and so the sales process is really you run through it. The pricing is going to depend on. We're looking at it from a value standpoint. A smaller organization is going to get less value out of it than a larger organization. Why? Because they have less data to actually comb through. So we're going to have deals in the $20,000 a year size. We're going to have deals in the $100,000 a year size or more. So it's really going to be kind of a one-off. And that is another reason why we are relying heavily and leaning on those VARs and those MSSPs that have resellers built in, is that they already have these clients, they know these clients, and now it's just a matter of exposing these clients and moving our product in. No, our cost structure doesn't shift much at all. Now, again, as we decide to do future developments, yeah, we're going to have more cost, but at the end of the day, we're pretty lean. We're running very lean right now. We know that as we scale up, we'll have to bolt on some additional expenditures, but it's nothing unheard of.
So I have kind of an industry question on cybersecurity. Your industry has the worst sales people in the world, because we've read about cyber threats, for at least a decade now. We've read about ransomware, but every week the headline is bringing new companies, and so that company must have been approached by your salespeople or one of your partner salespeople. Why are companies still not buying the solutions, or is it just impossible to protect yourself in this environment?
Yes. Well, no. Here's the reality. I said it earlier. It's not if, it's when. You're going to get attacked, right? Like there is no way to be 100% preventative. At least none that anybody has really found. But the sales cycle, part of it is it's interesting there's a lot of egos involved in the industry. There's a lot of egos involved. So if I'm a buyer and I know everything, I don't need to buy your product, even if it does protect me better. because I don't need it. I can protect us by ourselves. But the reality is that the attacks are going to happen. It's just a matter of finding them as fast as you can, which is what we do. It's finding them and remediating them as quickly as possible, because it's inevitable. The bad guys are always a step ahead. They always have been, right? If you look back in time, not just cybersecurity, but everything, bad guys are always a step ahead. So, but great question. Appreciate it. I appreciate everybody being here. I'm getting kicked off stage. She started booing. So appreciate it.